Joined now by Jackson Moore of BarkBoard.com. Jackson, the Bulldogs win the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl 18-3, the final score. This one was a little strange at times. Lack of touchdowns, a lot of field goals. What is your biggest takeaway from this win?
Yeah, I mean, it was slow. It took a while. Then you look at the end of the game and you won 18-3 and you gave up hardly anything on defense. You scored 5 times, even if they were 4 field goals, and just felt like it felt like a blowout by the time it ended. But it took a little while to get there, a little bit of a slow roll.
This defense has been pretty consistent this year. When the offense is struggling, the defense gets there, they get the turnovers. What can you say about the secondary and the fact that they were able to create some of those tonight?
Yeah, I think Jakari Embry's interception kind of kick-started this whole thing. It was going not great up to that point. I mean, the defense was just solid all around. Miami tried to take some shots. Fresno State stopped that. I think the pass rush was big all game long. Miami was down a couple of offensive linemen, and the Bulldogs really took advantage with having all their D linemen, and just having everyone available, I think, was a big deal today.
E.J. Warner was named the MVP of the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. He had a clean game. He threw for over 200 yards and 1 touchdown. Seems like the Dogs were trying to run the ball a lot in this one, but what is your impression of E.J. and his performance?
Yeah, there weren't many big plays in this game, so the 3 or 4 big passes that he hit to Josiah Freeman were big deals that it went out there, and of course he hit the touchdown, the only one in the game, so stat sheet makes sense why he was the MVP, but you know, just 4 or 5 passes really kind of spread out the game between these two. It didn't take a whole lot, but I think the biggest thing was no mistakes. You kind of got to the point where you assumed at some point you were going to have one bad E.J. Warner play that was going to cost you some points, and that never happened today. If it did, it would be talking about a lot closer game.
At the end of the game, we saw some of the younger guys get an opportunity, and Carson Conklin coming in for that final drive. What does that do for this program, giving those younger guys that opportunity to get some of these minutes in a bowl game?
Yeah, I think it's big. I mean, for some of them, just to be dressed out and be out here is pretty cool. A lot of guys that were redshirting could play in this game, not against the rules there for redshirts. So to see Julius Gillett get a carry and just, I mean, you could see there was like 4 months of pent up not playing behind that rush. He knocked over a couple of Miami of Ohio defenders. So I think all around it's a good morale builder to go into the offseason and have this type of game where not only do you win, you get to celebrate, but some other guys got to play too.
We've got to talk about special teams. Dylan Lynch, pretty solid today, missed 1 field goal, but pretty accurate other than that. What can you say about the performance from the special teams group?
Again, in a game where there's not a lot of big plays, you get a couple of those, and that's massive. So that was big. I was really just kind of had a little bit of flashback to Oregon State a little bit, where you had some of those mistakes, and the Bulldogs were able to capitalize. And so, yeah, again, so you could have a shootout. Maybe those plays don't matter a whole lot, but in a defensive battle like this, it goes a long way.
Matt Entz finishes his first year as Fresno State's head coach with a 9-4 overall record. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was an impressive season. You know, he said himself there's a couple games they would have liked to have had back, but I think back to last year at this time, we didn't know who was going to play. There was hardly any starters in that game, and the starters that did start that we knew graduated, so there wasn't a whole lot coming back, and Entz wanted this to be a developmental program. They took a lot of players that were already in the program that didn't play a whole lot and turned them into starters. They grabbed a few key transfers along the way, and to do that and put up 9 wins, I think is impressive. We looked last year, a ton of close losses. This year, this team grinded those games out, and they only had the 1 game slip away against Utah State. So, you hope they can build on this. Easier said than done, but if 9's the starting point, you feel good about where this team can go with Coach Entz.
Matt Entz joins Jeff Tedford as the only coach to win a bowl game in his first season at the helm of the program. What excitement does that give fans to look forward to in the future of Fresno State football?
Yeah, and I think it was the way they won it too. You know, again, it wasn't kind of a mash unit like last year. This was the 2025 Bulldog team minus Jaden Davis basically, and they all came together and put on a big win, and it was a lot of fun. The whole Snoop Dogg thing. Coach Entz grabbed that trophy and shook it around, and I can't imagine the image of him holding the North Dakota State National Championship trophy couldn't have been any more joyous than what he was doing up there. So I think it was big for the whole team, and now they're going to graduate a lot of these guys, so process starts pretty soon here to rebuild for 26.
That's my next question. What is the biggest key that this team needs to focus on and this coaching staff needs to focus on heading into spring ball and rebuilding?
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer everyone wants to hear is the Bulldogs probably go and get a quarterback in the transfer portal, try to get someone that can start next year, but that's only one piece. This team's graduating about 27 players we saw on senior night. I mean, there's going to be a lot of spaces to fill. So a lot of development. And, hopefully they can budget correctly in the transfer portal, get a few key pieces that kind of put them over the top. It would be nice to see a brand new, experienced, successful quarterback come in and kind of maybe be that difference maker in a game or two they didn't get this year.
All right, that's Jackson Moore of barkboard.com. Jackson, thank you for your time as always. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.